Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Today we have chapter 11, which is about complex word stress. In chapter 10, last lecture, we talked about the nature of stress, and we have given broad general rules about which syllable in a word should receive the primary stress. So we talked about the simple words. Okay, simple words, I mean not composed of more than one grammatical unit. هذا معنى الsimple word إنه هي grammatically ما تتكون أكثر من one grammatical unit. For example, the word care. Care is a simple word, but when I add, for example, careful, careless, no, it is composed of two grammatical units. So these or this word, اللي هي careful, and careless, the other word, are complex words. So we have simple words and we have complex words. The majority of English words of more than one syllable, most of the English words consist of more than one syllable. They are called polysyllabic words. Okay? And the polysyllabic words consist of more than one unit. I mean, the word consists of a stem or root or basic or base, and we have other parts which are called affixes, إضافات, affixes. Okay? So in this chapter, we will talk about the complex words. The complex words are of two major types. نوعين من complex words. Number one, the words made from a basic word form, اللي هي we call it stem, من الأساس, الجزء الأساس, with an addition. This addition is called affix. هذه الأفكس قد تجيني بداية الكلمة and it is called prefix, or نهاية الكلمة at the end of the word and it is called suffix. So the complex word, number one, either it is made from basic word, the stem, and affix. The affix may be at the beginning or at the end. The second type of the complex words are called compound words. النوع الثاني من complex words بالإنجليزية نسميه compound words. Compound words are made of two independent English words. Independent معناها meaningful, معناها مستقلة. إذن compound words هي الكلمات اللي تتكون لي من كلمتين مستقلات. Independent English words. For example, when I say armchair, armchair is a compound word, consists of arm and of what? Of chair. Okay, so let us go back to the first kind, the first type, نرجع لأول نوع اللي هو the word consists of the stem and the affixes. The affixes, we have said that, are of two kinds or sorts in English. The prefix, which come before the stem, for example, when I say unpleasant, unpleasant. So un is what is prefix, pleasant is the stem. Or the other kind is what is the suffixes. I mean the addition after the stem. For example, when I say goodness, good and ness. Ness is what is the suffix, good is what is the stem. Okay? There is an important question. The affixes have one of the three possible effects on word stress. لا تنسون, our subject is about stress. Okay, so the affixes, هذه الإضافات, have one of the three possible effects. إلها تأثير من التأثيرات الثلاثة اللي راح نذكرها on word stress, على التجديد في الكلمة. On page 83 موجودة عندكم the three cases the three states, the three possible effects، التأثيرات الثلاثة on word stress. تأثير الأفكس على الword stress. أول تأثير إنه الأفكس itself receives the primary stress. شو يسوي من أدخل affix على الستم راح ياخذ هو primary stress. So the affix itself receives the primary stress. ينطيني أمثلة. For example لما أضيف ality إلى person personality personality. So when I add ality to the person, to the stem person, it receives the primary stress. هو ياخذ على عاتقه ويصير هو حامل إلى الستريس. يسمى بالstress carrying suffix. stress carrying suffix. السفكس لحامل الستريس. This is number one. مطينا أمثلة بالكتاب on page 83. 2. الحالة الثانية، التأثير الثاني. The word is stressed as if the affix were not there. فإذا يبقى الكلمة ما تتأثر بإضافة الأفكس or suffix. The word is stressed تشدد as if the affix were not there. For example, when I say pleasant, the stress on the first syllable of this word, and when I put an, for example, the prefix an, I add the prefix an يصير unpleasant ولا يأثر لي على مكان الستريس، يبقى unpleasant. market من أضيف ing شو يصير marketing. the same marketing on the stem and not the affix or the suffix or the prefix. The third point or the third effect of the affixes on the word stress is what? إنه the stress remains on the stem. The stress راح تبقى on the stem, not the affix ما ياخذ الأفكس, but is shifted to a different syllable. لكن شي يأثر عليها هذا الأفكس؟ يغير الستريس مالتها من syllable إلى syllable آخر. أعيد أكرر again. The third effect is what? إنه the stress remains on the stem, not the affix. The affix does not take the stress, but is shifted. لكن the stress is shifted to a different syllable. For example, when I say magnet, okay? magnet الستريس على أول syllable magnet. من أضيف لها IC يصير magnetic. okay? الإك ما ياخذ لي الستريس، والستريس ما تبقى على أول syllable. shift معناها change, move to what? to the other syllable. يصير magnetic. net هي الوسط ويصير المشدد stress one. magnetic. okay? So this is for the complex words. Let us begin with the suffixes. There are many suffixes that we will go through them, but we will concentrate only on what we call them protective. واية من الsuffixes لكن احنا راح نركز على only the protective one. Protective, the suffix will change the meaning, let us say, okay, of the words. One of the problems, of course, that we encounter, that we face, is that we find words which are obviously complex. نشوفها كلش مبينة complex, but which when we try to divide them, لما نريد أقسمهم into stem or affix, turn out to have a stem that is difficult to imagine as an English word. For example, when I say Audacity مبين عليها is what? Is a complex word. But when I divide it, okay, into two, it will be shown as if it is not an English word. This is one of the problems of, let us say, dividing the complex words. Let us go to the suffixes carrying the primary stress themselves. هسه نجي هنا here in 11.2, here we explain the points, the 3 points that we explain on the top of the page. The top of the page 83, we have 3 points, 3 kinds of affixes or stress word. Number 1 راح نجيهم بالتفصيل اللي هي suffixes carrying the primary stress themselves. هسه suffixes هو اللي ياخذ لي الستريس لما ينضاف إلى الكلمة الأصلية. Okay? So the primary stress is on the first syllable, for example, or the suffix. If the stem consists of more than 1 syllable, okay, there will be a secondary stress on one of the syllables of the stem. Okay? For example, we have Japan, the word Japan. Okay? Japan. Japan, the primary stress is where on the last syllable, Japan. Okay? When I add the suffix is to get the word Japanese, the primary stress will go to where? To the stress carrying suffix اللي هي الإيز. راح تتحول عندي الستريس من Japan from the first one من ياخذها من يحملها الإيز اللي هو نسميه الستريس carrying suffix. طبعا أمثلة إضافة إلى ذلك عندنا refugees for example, mountaineer مثلا, volunteer, Portuguese for example. كل هذه الإضافات من أضيف لها الكلمة أضيف لها هذه السفكس. هذا السفكس هو اللي راح ياخذ الستريس not the stem. الستم راح يبقى وياه secondary stress not the primary one. نجي على النوع الثاني on page 84. We have the suffix or the suffixes that do not affect the stress placement. يعني عندنا suffixes هذه ما تأثر لي، يعني ضفت إلها هاي السفكس انضافت إلى الكلمة ما انضافت ما يغير لي من الستريس اللي موجودة على الستم الأصلي على الكلمة الأصلية. For example, when I have able من أضيفها إلى comfort. Comfort, comfortable. Comfort on the first syllable, and when I add able, it is still at the first syllable. Comfortable. And we have many words here or examples. For example, we have fun, and when I add e, for example, fun, funny, fun, funny. The first syllable is stress, and it is also it stays as it is stress, even if we add what the suffix y or the suffix I. Okay. The third group, ثالث نوع اللي هو what the suffixes that influence the stress in the stem. يأثر لي على الستريس how it moves, it shifts from one syllable to another one. هذه الحالة إنه من أضيف هذا السفكس راح يغير لي مكان الستريس من syllable إلى syllable آخر بالكلمة الأصلية. For example, نعطيني أمثلة كثيرة also. We have, for example, the first one, advantage. Stress on the second syllable, على advantage. When I add us, okay, advantageous. So here we move the stress from the second to the third one, for example. Or when I say proverb. When I add ill, okay, ill, proverbial, I change the stress, or the stress is changed from the first syllable to the second syllable. Okay, so again we have 3 effects and 3 تأثيرات, possible effects on word stress. Okay, الأفكسز إلها تأثيرات. 3 effects on word stress. Number 1 إنه الsuffixes هي receive the primary stress. Number 2, we have groups that in the word is stressed as if the affix were not there. The suffix, the addition of the suffix or the affix doesn't affect the word stress, I mean. And the third group, وثالث group, إنه the stress remains on the stem, not the affix, لكن it's what it is shifted or changed to a different syllable. Okay. This is for the suffixes. بالنسبة للprefixes, prefixes we will look only briefly at the prefixes. Why? لأنه their effect on stress doesn't have the comparative regularity or independence or predictability. يعني it is not that important as the suffixes. Let us now go to the second kind. تذكرون الكومبلكس words قلنا احنا نوعين، يا اما عندها affixes يعني suffixes و prefixes، والنوع الثاني ان يتكونون من two words، وهذه الورد كل واحدة من عندها independent meaningful one. So the compound words. Compound words, the main characteristic of a compound word is that it can be analyzed into two words, both of which can exist independently as English words. تتذكرون قلنا arm chair ice cream كل كلمتين مستقلات وإلى معناها الخاص. مثل هيك كلمات I call them compound words. Compound words. Let us now talk about what? Talk about the structure of the compound words. How can I write them? هسه نحكي على يعني كstructure كتركيبهم. Compounds are written in different ways. Sometimes they are written as one word. For example, armchair, sunflower. كلنا نكتبها كلمة واحدة. Sometimes no, I separate the words by a hyphen. I put a hyphen between the two words. For example, when I say open-minded, cost-effective. And sometimes with two words separated by what? By a space. For example, when I say desk lamp, battery charger, etc. Of course, when I put them without any, let us say, without a hyphen and separated only by space, there would be no indication for the foreigner or foreign learner that these pairs of words was to be treated as a compound. يعني كأنه ما يفهمهم ما يعرفهم كcompound words. So there is no clear dividing, let us say, line between two word compounds and pairs of words, and this will make these or knowing these words as let us say difficult words for them. As far as the stress is concerned, now let us soon our subject is what is the stress. So when is the primary stress? This is a question. When is the primary stress placed on the first constituent of the compound and when on the second? شو وقت أخليها بالfirst syllable على الكلمة الأولى وشو وقت أخليها على الكلمة الثانية بالcompound words. Both patterns are found. النمطين موجودة. But we have a few rules can be given, and although they are not completely reliable or we can depend on them, but they help us to know that this is the position of the stress on this compound, etc. Most of the common, let us say, kind or type, familiar type of compound words is the one which combines two nouns. من أنواع الشائعة للcompound words الكلمات المركبة هي words or compound words consist of two nouns. Two nouns, if the compound word consists of two nouns, so it normally has the stress on the first element. ماما هذا أول rule. إذا كان الcompound word consists of two nouns, the stress is on what? On the first word. We have here, for example, typewriter, car ferry, sunrise, suitcase, teacup. فإذا two nouns, فإذا الstress وين أخليها? On the first one. Of course, there is a number of compounds receive the stress instead on the second element. And we have, let us say, exceptions for this rule. Yes. The compounds, rule number two. For the compounds that with an adjectival first element and the ed morpheme at the end, okay, we will have the stress on the second part or the second word. For example, when I say bad-tempered, or heavy-handed, this compound word consists of an adjectival first element and ed morpheme at the end of the second word. If I have words like this, so the stress will be on the final or the second word. Number 3, the compounds in which the first element is a number إذا كانت عندي compound words, the number is the first element or the first, let us say, word, so the stress will be on the final let us say word, على second word. For example, when I say second class, إذن على class الstress. When I say 5 finger, 5 in number, finger, فإذن على الfinger راح يكون عندي شنو الstress. Okay? Compounds functioning as adverbs are usually أيضا final stress. Final stress إذا كانت عندي compounds تشتغل لي كadverbs. For example, when I say downstream, northeast, head first, these تشتغل function, هاي الcompound تشتغل كadverb, فإذن لازم يكون الstress on what? On the second element of this compound word. Finally, الرول الأخير, compounds which function as verbs, هي compound word لكن تشتغل لي verb and have an adverbial first element. This compound will take the final stress أيضا على الكلمة الثانية من هذه الفعل أو من هذا compound word. For example, when I say ill-treat or downgrade or backpedal, okay, أيضا الstress تكون on what? On the second word, the final word of the compound words. Clear, students? Very simple, very nice, interesting examples you have here. In 11.5, we have variable stress. طبعا, it would be wrong to imagine that the stress pattern is always fixed and unchanging. In the English words, I mean. So it is not fixed and it is changing. Stress position may vary for one or two reasons. لأنه مكان stress position may vary, may change. Okay, why? Either as a result of the stress on other words occurring next to the word in question, يا أما بسبب الكلمات الأخرى اللي تجيني مع الكلمة اللي أنا معتادة عليها وين يكون الstress, or because not all speakers agree on the placement of the stress in some words, أو عدم موافقة أو الagreement الاتفاق ما بين المتحدثين على وضع الstress. Okay, then we will see that in connected speech بالكلام not only the words, but when I put it in a sentence, the position of the stress will be changed also. مثلا عندي الكلمة bad-tempered احنا قلنا وين نخليها على second one, على tempered. But when I add, for example, teacher, a bad-tempered teacher, bad-tempered راح يصير adjective كلها إلى teacher, إلى الاسم teacher. So the teacher will carry or will be placed on it the stress. So here the place of the stress will be changed, right? So when I say, for example, heavy-handed, when I put sentence with it, heavy-handed sentence. So sentence will carry the what? The primary stress. Okay? So we should pay attention to this notice or note, and it is useful for us. The last point in this chapter, it is the word class pairs. Word class pairs. There are several dozen pairs of two-syllable words متكونة من two syllables with identical spelling. Okay, identical spelling نفس الspelling نفس الحروف which differ from each other in stress placement only. كلمتين متشابهة بالأحرف ولكن الفرق بيناتهم هي موقع أو موضع الstress. This will change the class of the word or the word class. It will, for example, change from a verb into noun, from a noun to an adjective. We call these what? Minimal pairs. We call them minimal pairs. Okay? So we have here, of course, we know that treat them as a special type of word and give them the following rule. There is a rule on page 87, very important rule. If a pair of a prefix plus stem words, يعني كلمات تتكون من prefix وياها الstem, both members of which are spelled identically, وعندي نوع ثاني أو كلمة أخرى تشابه spelled identically, one of which is a verb and the other of which is either a noun or an adjective. The stress is placed on the second syllable of the verb. إذا كانت أواني أعتبرها verb فإذا الستريس وين راح يكون؟ on the second syllable. But the stress will be on the first syllable if it is what? If it is a noun or an adjective. Okay? So we have, for example, here many also examples. We have abstract, conduct, contract, contrast, desert, escort, export, import, insult, etc. So when I put the stress on the first syllable, it will be either an adjective or a noun, for example. But when I change it to the last or the second syllable, it will become what? A verb. Okay? It will become a verb. So these are the word class pairs. So here the stress has a function تشتغل لي وظيفة إلها تأثير إنه it changes the verb into a noun or a noun into an adjective because of what? Because of the change of the placement of the stress. That is for of course the material in chapter 11, and also you have here a written exercise about the stress marks. Okay, we have from A to J, very important and nice words. That is, where should I put the stress? If I have, for example, shopkeeper, nouns, two nouns, right? So the stress will be on what? Okay, we have discussed this. If it is, for example, eight-sided, if the compound word consists of a number and a noun, where should I put the stress? We have said this. We have, for example, C, we have Javanese, is, okay, سميناها the stress carrying suffix, right? So this exercise is very important and nice to practice the position of the stress and the effect of the affixes on word stress. Thank you very much and goodbye.